Hi, welcome to Get Personal with Finance. Today I have a question: how to best control your emotions when it comes to stock market investing. Okay, so um, yeah, this question kind of says it all. Investing in the stock market, I'm assuming that they're meaning short term, because when you're investing in the stock market long term, you don't have to worry about the ups and downs with the market. When you're investing short term, then yeah, it's an emotional roller coaster. So for my clients and for myself, I have accounts that are long term. They're retirement accounts. So those are my long positions, long term positions. So I don't have to worry about what's going on. You just set it, forget about it, and consistently add money to it. It's the way to go. But when it comes to the emotions in the stock market, that comes in when you're looking at it every day, every 5 minutes. You see the emotions of the market because people are trading, right? When you sell, somebody's buying. So you see those emotions and those back and forth, right? So, and not just that, but these apps that are on our phone, they're really triggering because they have these different colors and the way the numbers move, and you have news and notification. So it's very emotional to a lot of people, especially investors. I remember myself when I started investing as soon as I was 18. Actually, before I was 18, I used my sister's account to invest in. Extremely emotional. I still remember today, like, wow, it's a lot to take in when you're not even 18 years old. And even after I started doing it too, and I had some success, and I kept over allocating and taking on more riskier positions. And of course, you all know how that ends. What I gained from, well, obviously I lost some time and money, but what I gained was obviously experience and just to be more self-aware of my emotions and my emotions, because it really clouds your judgment. You think like you're better than Warren Buffett or the best investors out there, and you're better than everybody, right? So anyway, so first and foremost, I have 4 things that I think can address when it comes to the emotions of stock market investing or short-term investing. Is that first and foremost is that you have to know that you're emotional. Like, I know that I'm emotional. Like, we're emotional human beings. So you first have to recognize and understand that. We're not talking about, you're a girl or a boy or whatever. We're just emotional beings. Like, one sex is more emotional. I'm not talking about that. Just know that we are. And especially when it comes to money, boy, we're like extra emotional. So please study yourself, study the subject of emotion and psychology and just emotional well-being, and find books about emotions when it comes to trading. Just read and immerse yourself in that. So you're just more self-aware of yourself and your emotions, so you can better manage, right? So that's number 1, is first you gotta be self-aware and know that you're emotional. So recognize that, because literally, I don't know what the official statistic is, but personally for me, it's like 90% of it is emotional. When I take on short-term positions, anything, when I'm investing in a company short-term, either in the stock market or just out of the stock market. So if I'm, doing an investment, any investing of my time and money. The other thing that would help is number 2 is journaling. This sounds weird, but I do it, and it helps me so much. If you want to take investing seriously, you need to have some vehicle to be reflective and to record and track your process and your development. So journaling is a simple way. And I don't have to say you get some formal journal and write. You can do that on your phone. Just write things down. Every time you learn something good, bad, take notes, and it's a very reflective experience. And it's, in my opinion, it's one of the golden habits that I think a lot of people don't talk about, but is essential, especially if this is something that you're seriously pursuing. Actually, in my opinion, if you're investing short term, you should take this very seriously and consider journaling, right? Write things down. You don't need to have any format. Just, in my opinion, just start with just your thoughts, right? And then slowly you find your own formatting and structure that works best for you, that organizes your thought and helps you with your development. Got it? So that's really, really important. And it's important to write down what works and what doesn't work too, right? So again, it's all learning, and when we stumble forward, right? That's the idea. Number 3, and I'm going to touch on this a lot, is create a checklist. Think of it as like, like as simple as before you start your car, you kind of have a mental checklist of a seatbelt, where you're going, like what you're wearing, or like just, is it a hot day, turn on the AC. There's a checklist that you do. We do that with pretty much everything. It's kind of, we do just automatically. But let me give you the extreme. If you ever seen a pilot before they fly a plane, COVID, none of us fly as often as we used to, but if you go on a plane, or just look at a pilot's checklist, it is extensive. It's thorough. It's in a certain order. It's categorized. So same thing with your trading is that before you take on a trade, I challenge you, if you don't have a checklist right now, you might want to add, this might change the way you invest, right? For the better. And so have a checklist. And so why have a checklist? Because when it comes to trading, just like a plane, everything is perfect before you take off. Just like when you're trading, it helps control your emotions. It helps clarifies your thinking. It helps you just to be better at managing risk. And it makes your investing more consistent. If not, then it's just the emotional whim you feel that day because you're on your phone and you're in between meetings or your work and you're just taking positions. Again, I know these apps are designed to make it easy, but a lot of these things take time and diligence, right? So a checklist is what you need, right? Preparation, just like name me a chef, name me anybody who's good at their craft, and they will tell you it's in their preparation, how they prepare for meetings, for a plate, for a meal. It's all preparation, right? So if you don't take investing seriously, I guess you're not getting what I'm saying, but if you take any craft seriously, preparation is key. So checklist is part of that preparation. So I'm going to share with you some that's on my checklist. These are very general. Yours should be personal to you, right? Personal finance, right? It's personal. So personal to you, however your psyche works, but build upon this, I guess, and create your own, because it's your own style and strategy. Whatever is best for you. Do not take this as hard advice that this is gonna, again, I'm just sharing with you. I'm not giving you any advice. I'm just sharing with you what I do. So here's some things that are on my checklist. First, the first thing on my checklist is I need to be clear on the direction of the stock, right? So is it gonna go sideways? Is it gonna go up? Is it gonna go down? And in what time frame? In the next week? In the next 2 weeks, 3 weeks? The next month, right? Because there's option expiration. What is it? And you need to be really clear on that so you know how to take a position. So another things is you have to go through the checklist of what are the recent news and what are the sentiment around the stock, right? Do you have a good feel of the news and the sentiment around the stock? It's really important. So what's going on and what's going to go on? Like, for example, the company's gonna announce earnings soon, or there's gonna be some new product launch, right? You have to be aware of what's going on with the underlying company, because sometimes, and you have to know this, sometimes the stock does move with the company news and sometimes it doesn't. They're two different things almost, right? Just be clear on and that's why for a lot of investors, they really follow a lot of stocks, even though they don't trade any of the stocks, but they follow it. It's really important for them to have a good feel of what's going on in that company and especially how the stock is behaving. So really important. And what are the competitor stocks doing? How are they performing, right? So your checklist should also look at, okay, X stock, what about Y and Z that's similar? How are those stocks behaving? What's going on with those companies, etc. So right, make sure you're clear on that. And all this is, you have to go through this whole checklist before you take a position, right? So these are the things that I go through. And are there better stocks, right? So that's a simple question to ask. Like, okay, I'm looking to take a position in this. So ask yourself, is there a better stock than this, right? You have to clearly answer if the answer is no, then still continue with the stock. If the answer is yes, then you're done. This is not the stock that you're gonna take a position in, right? So, and how long am I planning to hold this stock? Is it gonna be for a year or more? Is it gonna be more short term, right? So that's really important because, the stocks behave, it depends. So short term, it can behave, it's very volatile, right? It can be very volatile. So really know what position you're taking, because the problem with these people that give advice, right? They're like, oh, buy this hot stock, but they never tell you what entry price, when to sell, and like all these things. That's why you should be following, in my opinion, following somebody, right? That you think knows better, and you're not doing your own due diligence. You're just following some type of signal or whatever that somebody's telling you or feed. Just not good. Again, have your own checklist, because this is your own finance, and you should have your own strategy that's part of a bigger strategy and part of your overall finances. So really important. Should you ease into the stock where you take a little bit now in the beginning of the day, middle of the day, and then the rest at the end of the day, or are you gonna just buy a little bit for the week, right? You kind of average in. What's your strategy to enter the stock, right? There's many. You can dollar cost average. There's a lot of this, right? So you got to answer yourself that question as well too. And then also, how will you be managing your downside risk? So if this thing doesn't, you're going to take a position. If it goes down, how do you manage that? What's your strategy around there, right? So you got to ask yourself that and make sure you have a good answer, right, to that. Again, all this, so it helps me control my emotions, and it helps me size too, right? Like, okay, like just like the question before, maybe buy a little bit, right? Or maybe buy a competitor stock as well too for diversification, or a stock that kind of behaves, in the opposite direction of this stock, or again, formulate your own checklist, right? So you go through this and ask yourself. And then also ask yourself this question, is that if things starts to go bad with this particular stock or investment that you're doing, how would you react, right? Just ask yourself that question, see how your mind reacts. Negatively or okay or whatever, then okay, just again, begin with the end in mind, just kind of frame yourself so when that does happen, your mind's already trained so you don't, or at least for me, I don't overreact and then I start to do what's like it's called weak hands, or you just come up with some random strategy, you would sell out quickly. It just helps your mind to be more prepared, right? Just kind of think about the worst a little bit. So that's helped me. And then ask yourself, if I lose it all and I lose this amount of time with the stock, am I okay? It's a simple yes or no question. If you say you're okay, good. That's a good checklist. And then also the very last thing on my checklist always is just kind of like a quote, or what I tell myself is that, John, you're not special. The law of gravity applies to you. And it's just a way, literally it says you are not special. So it grounds me and it reminds me not to be humble, but just to be level-headed, and that the market will do what the market does. The only thing we have control over is our risks, right? So risk management is everything. Again, we let the market does what the market does. The only thing we have control over is our risk. So you have to take that seriously. I have to take it very seriously. For me, for my clients, anybody for that matter. And you do always your best effort, right? And we learn as we go. Nobody's perfect. The best traders make mistakes too. So give yourself a break. This is not about perfection. It's about progress, consistent learning, and becoming better. That's what I've learned through the years. And I like to think myself as I'm constantly getting better. And I'm committed to get better. Not just wanting, right? I think we talked about that. And the fourth item I want to add to this is that to help with your emotion is find another person that can mentor you, that you can share ideas with, not to give you advice. I think that's, like, people are full of it, right? Like advice, that is. And so find someone to, bounce ideas out, to talk things through, your strategies, your ideas. That's really, really important, because at the end of the day, that's what it's all about, right? Is that it's like having a gym buddy that keeps you accountable, that it helps you flush out your ideas and thinking. That is absolutely essential. So and find someone, if you can, if you're blessed and fortunate, like I am, I'm very grateful to have mentors and people in my life that they have the discipline, they have the mistakes, and scars to prove it, to help me with my thought process so I can make my own decision. Not them telling what I should do, but again, to share with me their perspective and share with me, their learning. So if you're fortunate to find someone like that, or at least find a friend to bounce ideas off, and maybe teach them too what you're doing, because there's a magic into sharing what we're doing that helps us to to be better. I don't know how to explain it, but it's just that's the effect. And it is, right? We're constantly learning anyway, so it's good to share and get feedback. So those are the 4 things that I know that's best to help control my emotions, at least from my personal experience, that I want to share with you. So with that, I hope you like the video. Please like and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next video. Thank you.